Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsay's Little Library. So we're in a different location today because it is a very typical dreary, cloudy, just dark winter day in Wisconsin. So the lighting where I typically film is not that great. So you are in my living room. Welcome. Way bigger windows, hopefully a little bit better lighting. You know, we're just gonna roll with it. So I'm here today to go over my top 8 books of 2018. Well, really more like top 10. But top 8 of 2018 just sounds better, right? So top 8 plus a couple honorable mentions. 2018 was a really awesome reading year for me. I think I'm up to, my goal was 75 books. I'm not gonna hit that, and that's okay. I ran out of steam at the end, and I'm fine with that. But I think I'm gonna read a total of about 70 books. There's still some time left, and I have off of work. I'm almost done with one book right now, and so there's still a couple of books I would like to get in before the end of the year. We'll see. But I'm overall really happy with what I read, and actually coming up with my top 10 was really, really hard. As I was going through my Goodreads page and looking at the books that I've read this year, it was pretty cool to see the journey that I was on throughout the year. So it was super, super fun. I'm gonna do this in order. I did take a little bit of time to really think about how I would rank them one over the other instead of just giving you, my random full top 10. So we'll start with honorable mentions and make our way down to like my favorite book of the year. So I have 2 honorable mentions. There were just 2 books that didn't quite make it. They didn't quite make it to the top of the list, but I think they're way too good to not put on the list for a number of reasons. First one being Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This one I buddy read with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, and this has got me into such a fantasy kick lately. Totally this book's fault. Quite the adventure. I loved the world. I loved the magic system in the world. I loved the kind of problems that our characters were trying to solve. It has a map in it. How can you not love that? It's like a gorgeous map too. I had a blast buddy reading this book. I cannot wait to buddy read the second book that comes out, I believe this year, or 2019 it comes out. So I couldn't not put it on my list, definitely. So we'll say number 10. Number 9, again, made it on my list, not only because it was a really great book, but I had a really great experience reading it and then meeting the author. So Salt of the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. This is a World War II historical fiction based upon the sinking of the Lusitania? No, the Wilhelm Gustave, not the Lusitania. Anyways, awesome, awesome book. Really, really well written. I loved the different perspectives you got from each character. And I got to see Ruta Sepetys when she was at the library literally across the street from my work. So my coworker and I went and got to see her. We got to meet her. We got to listen to her talk, and the research she did into this book was just amazing, amazing. So I have officially fallen in love with Ruta Sepetys. She's on my forever always buy list. Love, love, love this book. It was a really quick read. Very, very well done. Loved it. So that's number 9. Number 8, I have already lent out to my cousin, which is what I do with books. But number 8 would be Beartown by Frederick Bachman. Again, another book I cannot stop talking about. So many good perspectives in this book and very eye-opening opinions and thoughts, and oh my gosh, it's great. So it centers around Beartown, and there is a local hockey team there that is just like, it's the it thing. Everybody supports this hockey team. It's fantastic. It's awesome. Until one of its players gets into some pretty major trouble. And the reaction of the town and the knee-jerk reactions of the town and who's all involved, it was so complicated and so great and so amazing. And I got to buddy read that book as well with Krista from Books and Jams, which made it so much better. And I'm so glad I buddy read that book because it's one I couldn't stop talking about. I needed somebody to talk to. And usually that's my husband. It's not like he's reading the books with me. So he was very thankful to you, Krista, that you're buddy reading that book with me because there's so much to talk about in that book. Okay, on to number 7. Number 7, of course, gets into my obsession with historical fiction because You can't not have those books on my list. So, As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. This was one of the first books I read this year and definitely stayed in my top 10 the entire time. I received this as an ARC from Bookish First, and I'm so happy I did. First of all, I love Susan Meisner. I read her book, what was the other one? Secrets of a Charmed Life. Fell in love with that book, fell in love with her as an author then, and then I got this one. This one I love because it is not about World War II, right? Because I need to expand my horizons, right, friends? This one follows a family and how they survived the Spanish flu. Now, the Spanish flu was a really horrible epidemic that hit during World War I. So you have this whole side of things that this country is fighting this war, plus this horrible disease is spreading like wildfire. So you follow from the perspective of one family what they did and what happened to them during that time. Really good. Really good. And what I love is that you got a really good chunk of follow-up. So you have all this building up to this one kind of event. You go through the event and the event is over, and typically is where I would expect the book to end, but it didn't. There was a good amount of follow-up, and it wasn't too long a follow-up where it got boring, but you really got to go and see and get a good sense of what happens with these characters after this horrible event. So really great book. Number 6, again, shouldn't be a surprise, but we've got The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Oh, Kristen Hanna, every time you do this to me. Oh my gosh, this was really great. This follows a family who the father has come home from Vietnam with some pretty bad PTSD. Really bad PTSD. And at that time, it wasn't something that was recognized, nor was it something that was given treatment for. So he decides they're going to pick up the family, they're going to move to Alaska, where it's just, things are going to be better there. It's going to be better there. And it is for a while, because when they arrive there, it's summer in Alaska, and everything is great. They kind of live off the grid. They're having a really good time as a family in a nice, simple way. But then winter hits. And winters in Alaska are brutal and unforgiving and horrible. And for a man with PTSD, not so great. So, really great book. I enjoyed every page. I know there's a little bit of controversy around this one, but from my perspective, I loved it and is easily in my top 10. So, number 6 of the year. Need a little coffee. Which I got for free today. One of the people at Starbucks, so the line was way too long to go through drive up, so we went inside because I'm like, I got time today, and one of their regulars in there was buying everybody who came inside coffee. So thank you, Katie, whoever you are. Okay, number 9, another historical fiction. Not sorry, I don't know. But I was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhon. Now, Ariel Lawhon I have fallen in love with again, one of my favorite authors. This follows the Anastasia Romanoff story, and it has dual time perspectives, and it's written in a very unique way, which I'm not gonna lie, kind of tripped me up at the beginning because it's different. It goes in time period chunks that can go back and forth. It's once you figure out how to follow up, you're fine, but in the beginning it took me a little bit, so fair warning. Once I got used to that, it was great. So we have the story of Anastasia Romanoff from that perspective, and then you have the story of Anna Anderson, and you're trying to figure out, is Anna Anderson Anastasia? And you go back and forth, and I love how she has you go back and forth. And by far my favorite part of this book is, are you ready for this? The author's note. Don't read it before you read the book. Pinky swear, you can't read it before you read the book, but the author's note is what put this over the edge for me. So I can't tell you about it. You're just gonna have to pick it up and read it, but I really love this book. Again, falling even more in love with Ariel Lawhon as an author too, so really great book. So it's number 5. Book number 4, I also do not have because I left it at work. because Crazy Me has started a book club at work as well as the book club I have here and all the other reading I do. But I mean, why not, right? So our first book that we're reading is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, and the book is at work because I'm kind of prepping for that first meeting. But Born a Crime is the story of Trevor Noah. He grew up in South Africa during the apartheid. He's a colored person. His mother is African American. His father is white. He was literally born a crime. That book opened my eyes in so many ways. It is so well done. Kudos to Trevor Noah. He did a really great job. And I'm reading it a second time and I'm enjoying it just as much the second time. It's just so thought-provoking and I cannot wait to talk about it at work. And I'm already getting some really great feedback from people who've read it already, saying that they're loving it. It's a really, really great book. So highly suggest that one. All right, so we're down to our top 3 of 2018. Number 3, not a historical fiction. You should be proud of me, right? But it is Colleen Hoover. All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. Oh, this book, I bawled, I cried. I can't say that I never cry in books. I do cry in books, but not a ton. But man, she had me crying. So this centers around a couple who is going through infertility. Oh, the heartstrings. The heartstrings, seriously. It's great, it's short. You will fly through this. I have Post-its in because it's so great. Oh, favorite quote out of the book. Here we go, just bear with me. I think that's the difference in the marriage that survives, the marriages that survive and the marriages that don't. Some people think the focus in a marriage should be put on all the perfect days. They love as much and as hard as they can when everything is going right. But if a person gives all of themselves in the good times, hoping the bad times never come, there may not be enough resources or energy left to withstand those Category 5 hurricane moments. Right? So good. So good. And she just came out with another new book called Verity, I think. I can't wait to pick that up. That's actually the one I want to finish, kind of pick up next after I'm done with this one. That's good. I hope so. All right. Second best book of 2018 is totally psychological thriller. I read this book in 24 hours. I devoured this book and it's not small. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. Oh, threw me all over the place. I couldn't stop. I was obsessed with it. Thank goodness we were on vacation and I was able to kind of just relax. Kids were swimming. We went to whatever we did, but I finished this in 24 hours. The twist in here I never saw coming. I only know of one person who says she saw it coming, but did you really? Because it's a big twist. It's a big twist. I used to remember the page number it was on. I think it was like 329 or something like that. But I don't know. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. It follows a woman who she suffers from, what is it called? She's a recluse. She can't venture outside. She can't even walk outside her front door. So she's in her house. She's kind of a drunk. And she has nothing better to do but watch old black and white movies and spy on her neighbors. She sees something happen at her neighbors. It's so good. So good. Oh, this was great. All right. Number 1 book of 2018. Had to go with my standard historical fiction, but this book, I can't tell enough people to read this book. Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. First of all, it's unbelievable that this actually happened. Like, there was a woman who would steal children and sell them to the highest bidder. It's so sad. But this follows a family. There's dual time perspective. So you have present day, senator's daughter, kind of trying to find her way, learns of a little secret and starts investigating a little bit. And then you have, I think, the 1930s? Yes, 1939. You have 4 younger siblings who live together, and something happens that involves 2 of them ending up at the Memphis, Tennessee Children's Home Society, that's run by Georgia Tann, who was truly a person. They were basically stolen. Kids were stolen quite a bit and sold to high-paying celebrities and politicians. And so a lot of this stuff got swept under the cover just because of who was buying these kids. But it is all the feels. It's great. It's sad, it's tragic, but it's got a really good family piece to it too. So highly suggest it. My #1 book of the year by far. It was wonderful. So there you go. There's the top 10. I'm not saying I only read 10 amazing books this year, but I did have to pare it down. I could definitely go on and talk probably top 20 of the year, because there's a number of books that I read this year that are still really, really fantastic books. So be sure to check out my Goodreads page and check out my challenge and see kind of what I've rated and where I'm at. And if you want to chat about them, comment below and we can definitely talk about books. So at least tell me what your top #1 book of the year was in the comments below, because if I haven't read it, I need to pick it up, right? Otherwise, like, subscribe. Merry Christmas to all my friends. Happy holidays, all of that fun stuff. And I can't wait to see what 2019 brings. I think that's it. Bye.